All right, guys, welcome back to Dead Metal Media. I am your host, Dead Metal, and today we have a major news story. Now, you guys all know I always approach these types of things with a bit of caution because it's the internet. Anybody can post anything, but this is actually picking up some steam. It was first reported on NeoGAF, made its way over to Reset Era, and now Reddit's picked it up. The Horizon Forbidden West script has leaked. So we have major plot points, story details, character reveals, character deaths. We're going to get into it here, guys. Now, this was originally posted by the user Horizon Spoils on NeoGAF, and the thread has since been deleted. Unfortunately, it was only up for about 3 hours today, which is February 2nd, for anybody who's watching this in the future. The thread was up for 3 hours, but that was enough for some people to copy it over to Pastebin, and then it just took off from there. So we're going to get into this. I have to put this disclosure up front, guys. Major spoilers ahead. If you do not wish to hear the Horizon Forbidden West story in full, because we're going to tackle all the big plot points, click off the video now. And you guys let me know down below. I'm all about audience interaction. Let me know if you think that this is true or not. My curiosity got the better of me. I clicked on it. I read through the script. I'm a huge fan of Horizon Zero Dawn. So I read through this script. I gotta say, lining this up with the synopsises that Sony has given us, the gameplay footage that we have seen, the story trailers that we've seen, I think that this is legitimate. I could be wrong, okay, but this screams legitimate to me. Just looking at the way the plot is set up to go from here, look, at the end of the first game, I think this is where we end up. I really do. But enough talk. Let's get into it. Horizon Forbidden West full story spoilers, courtesy of Horizon Spoils, originally on NeoGAF, but has wormed its way out through the webs of the internet and is now taking over. I'm sure a bunch of people are going to be reporting with their takes on this. This is just mine. All right, so here we go. I condensed a lot of this into like bullet point format, so we're not here for hours and hours with me reading every piece of dialogue and description. But essentially, the story opens with Aloy taking on the mission on behalf of the Nora tribe to expand their reach into the Forbidden West. At this point, the Carja, the Shadow Carja, they're not really as big of a threat as they once were. The tribes themselves aren't warring as much. Enough time has passed that there's trade and diplomatic agreements and arrangements have been made. The Nora is still very much where Aloy rests her flag, so to speak, but she's decided to branch out. And being that she was made a seeker, she's going to be the one to expand into the Forbidden West and find and unravel all of its mysteries. So we get a tutorial introduction with basically Aloy being the queen of the Nora. They're worshipping at her feet, despite the fact that she really doesn't want them to. So she's got the crown. She already knows how to shoot and whatever, but they make you essentially play through a tutorial to get new players caught up to speed. And there is a recap of the first game as well, told through in-game dialogue. About 2 hours in, you actually get your first glimpse of the titular Forbidden West. Now, one of the hot topics online is, why is the West forbidden? What's in it? We've already seen through some of the trailers and a lot of the previews that there's going to be new machines that we'll have to fight, modeled off more real-life animals. Of course, that's going to be a huge appeal for the combat guys, but a lot of people are here just for the story. So what they do is, after the prologue and the tutorial are over, they set up the first act of the game, which is Aloy enters the Forbidden West, and there are local tribes who are very uncertain of her. They're very cautious. They're reluctant to give information. She wants to know why the West is forbidden and continue to uncover more dark and sinister secrets about this world. She's eventually tasked by one of the local tribes called the Dees Nuts tribe. And what the Dees Nuts tribe tasked her with is going to this tree. And it is said that a piece of fruit on this tree, upon consumption, will bestow her with the knowledge that she seeks. So, having taken up a title of a transitionary member of the Dees Nuts clan, she sets out to the tree, and through fighting some very feral humans, which are a new element, right? They're basically human enemies who have de-evolved, like the de-evolution of the species. They're going backwards, so they grunt and they scream, and you can come upon them doing almost anything if you really seek it out. But she fights through these enemies and makes her way to the Forbidden Tree. This tree is called the Forbidden Tree of the Forbidden West. And within this piece of fruit, it's actually a golden color. Within this piece of fruit, she will have all of the knowledge bestowed upon her about why the West is forbidden. Now, at this point, Rost's ghost appears before her, begging her not to do it, telling her to stay the path, return back to the Nora, and lead them as the strong and capable leader that she is. Well, we all know Aloy is a bit hard-headed. You know how those redheads are. So she powers right through Rost's ghost despite his cries, and she seizes the fruit from the tree and bites into this motherfucker with reckless abandon. I'm talking, she takes a chunk out of this like a fucking wolf devours a corpse of a deer, all right? You know, she's going to town on this thing. It's basically an apple. By the time she's done with it, there's not even a core left, all right? So we're seeing this ravenous side of Aloy, this ravenous side come out. And then she wobbles, she stumbles, and collapses on the ground. The game picks up with a scene. There's fog shrouding the edges of the screen. It's Aloy in front of a foggy mirror. And she wipes away the fog slowly at first. And her face, you can make it out, but there's a little bit of blur to it, a little bit of artistic blur. And as she wipes away the image, it becomes very clear, very fast, that she's nude in a very cold environment, apparently, but her body is not clothed. And this is a full-length body mirror. She continues wiping away the fog. And by the time she wipes away the last bit of fog that is obstructing the view of her feet, we can get a much clearer glimpse into just how deep the metaphorical symbolism in this game goes. Because standing before us is nude Aloy, but nude Aloy is not at all what we would expect. Much like an individual on a drunken night might find themselves in a situation with what is collectively referred to as a trap, we discover that Aloy is in fact a man. She possesses a penis. She possesses a pair of balls, doesn't even bother to shave the fucking thing. Harry, the description from the script goes into vivid detail here regarding the genitals. I mean, it is impressive, at least 9, possibly 10 inches. And that is not erect, bear in mind. Okay, so this is where the game starts to peel its layers back. It's really getting deep at this point. It's big, hard, apparent. You can't miss it. And, the depths of which the writing goes to knows no bounds. So, after this sequence is over, we know the truth. The Forbidden West is actually a metaphor for the Forbidden Nethers of Aloy, who is now, in fact, a transgender. Or has always been a transgender, but we now know that Aloy is a transgender. With this knowledge, the final part of the game starts to come to fruition. She returns to the Dees Nuts clan. And upon being asked if she received and took in the forbidden fruit, she replies, "Got him. Aha, got him," and returns to the Nora. The Nora all immediately fall to the ground and begin bowing and praising her as the All-Mother. Newly revealed transgender Aloy gets very offended at this. And this is a new mechanic in the game, is the offended meter. The offended meter works similarly to damage. If you take too much of it, you implode, much like a Karen screaming at a retail employee for the manager. If she is allowed to get out of control and her man doesn't rein the control in, she will implode. So if the offended meter of newly founded transgender SJW Snowflake Aloy gets too high, it's a game over. And this is not like a regular death from combat. When you get too offended, you got to start the game all over. There is no quick reload with the offense meter going too full. So we have transgender Snowflake, always offended Karen Aloy, who is standing on top of a hill, and all of the Nora are bowing down to her. And she says that by calling her All-Mother, they have assumed her gender. And she will never, ever allow this. It is disrespectful. It is very, very offensive. And it is not something that she will allow a group of people, no matter how desperate they are for her affection, to partake in. Aloy then adopts they-them pronouns and abandons the Nora. The Nora, now believing that they have been forsaken by their god, right? Because remember, this was Dr. Elizabeth, not Elizabeth. The writers typoed and all the voice actors went with it. This is Elizabeth Sobek reincarnated. This is her DNA. This is her child, or the new version of herself. And they praised her as the All-Mother. And they would have praised her as the All-They. But the offended cannot be taken lightly. So they're abandoned by their leader. The Nora then commit a mass suicide where they all jump off the edge of a cliff. It's a very emotional scene. And Aloy, what Aloy does is they now fully for understanding what the Forbidden West has revealed to them, which was the truth all along, that from the waist down below, she may as well be black, sets off on her next mission, which is to explore the welcoming North in search of estrogen supplements and somebody who can perform surgery in order to rid herself of the things, literally, one very large, two very small, that she believes are holding her back. And then at the end credits, after you've watched the horribly long, overrated list of everybody who helped put together this game, there is a bonus scene taking a page out of the Avengers book, taking a page out of the MCU, where she is confronted by Ross Ghost after the transgender reveal. And she simply asks Ross, "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me that I had the cock of a horse between my legs?" To which Ross Ghost simply replies, "Even I was impressed, Aloy. And I simply could not let myself be bested as a man by a child who was packing more inchwise than I ever was. Therefore, I raised you as a woman." And that's pretty much it. That is Horizon Forbidden West script leaked in full. Again, this really isn't, it sounds like a departure, but it's really not a departure. It continues to explore on the themes that we saw even in The Last of Us Part 2, which is that the transgender community is in fact very strong. They're very capable. They can have arms the size of some of the greatest, most athletic bodybuilders in the world. They are, in fact, the future. Going forward, men, women, we're gonna all be phased out because in a day and age where you can change genders at the drop of a hat and get offended over somebody assuming your gender, I can't think of something more culturally relevant. The truth is, the Forbidden West was really just what was between Aloy's legs all along. I'm not sure why it wasn't quite referred to as Horizon the Great South, but hey, props to them for putting out even more content that's going to appeal to the core Sony demographic of fans, and I can't wait to see what surprises are in store for the DLC. I mean, I'm hoping we get some cosmetic, maybe we could have cosmetic foreskin removal, right? Or the shaving of the pubes. There's a lot they could do with this, but Horizon Forbidden West, again, guys, script leaked in full. Thank you again to Horizon Spoils over on NeoGAF. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'll be picking this up day one, and I cannot wait to play through it again and again and again.